Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, colleagues, it's an honor for me to deliver a greeting speech on this important forum that relates to the political economy and world global economic relations. Whenever we raise a question about global economic relations, we also mean globalization and anti-globalization. First of all, under the concept of globalization, we understand the increase of the intervening of the international industrial economic processes that causes some standardization of global production and its spreading around the world. On the other hand, at the same time, under the concept of globalization, we imply the formation of the world-scale civil society and its stability. Also, the concept of globalization signifies the unity of world development which transforms our globe into the one-tide space, but besides, it threatens relevancy of national identity. It is already banal that the global world society is very complex. Each separate society often faces the problem of vulnerability during some acute crisis, but the ongoing situation is a very different one. The ongoing existence crisis is global and common for everyone. Every crisis and challenge requires a new agenda and a new type of solutions. Thus, this time states and societies from some kind of programs, also strong from the economic, political and military point of view, states as usual take the responsibility on themselves and try not only to designate plans but also to get some essential measures. In these processes, strong states represent their hegemonic role in the global order. Very often they try to purpose their political and economical interests. Such approach from the strong state is a main and observed disadvantage of globalization. Those political actors are always trying to solve the problem in accordance with their interests, emphasizing their hegemony. But the ongoing crisis has shown us that we need a unified, ethical, moral world order where everyone's originality will be taken into account and where all actors would retain their independence according to an equal footing. We can say that we, mankind, do not know when it will end, or we do not know how it will end, either, as well as we do not know with what industrial and economic results it will end. There are instability and obscurity in all cases. The world is unstable and obscure at the same time when the people are suffering from the virus. We all know the dark side of globalization and its hyper-globalization when hegemonic states try to subject other countries by means of economic measures and they don't take into account culture, ethical traditions of others. But the ongoing situation is very different. Now the whole world and not only some regimes, separate states, or whether they are democratic or totalitarian, authoritarian states, face very common problems. The peculiarity of the situation lies in the fact that we cannot foresee the outcomes of this crisis. We don't know when or how this crisis will finish. We cannot predict the economic outcome of an ongoing situation. Every crisis are characterizing with obscurity and instability, and the contradictory feature of the above-mentioned phrase is that as many as tens of thousands of people are infected with the virus. The world community is so obsessed with instability and uncertainty that it can have more negative consequences. During the crisis of different years, primarily during the economic crisis, the attitude of citizens and civil society towards the state were different. In today's crisis, during the pandemic, society demands and expects total intervention from the state to control this crisis, but besides, people require the universal protection to avoid the aggravation of this situation. It could be said that the crisis of 2008 and 2009 had a paradoxical character because of market economy distrust that did not lead to a further encouragement of economic intervention from the majority of states. All this had its own explanation. Every state differs from each other by structure and arrangements. This difference observed not only between democratic and totalitarian authoritarian states but also between democratic states themselves. One of the main factors here is their attitude towards the market economy. For liberal democratic or neoliberal states, a market economy is an indisputable postulate for the existence of a free society. society without any regulations or restrictions. In fact, without certain society constraints, when the principle of distributive equality is not implemented, there is no equal recognition among humans. In contrast, a democratic state is a guarantee for freedom when it is just as social, when an equal principle of redistribution of goods is implemented for all citizens. This crisis can cause some doubts about absolute economic trust and has probably, if not already, raised it. Ongoing crisis, its development is a test of how fair and unfair states are, their certain institutions, political systems as whole, and their subsystems such as healthcare, education, economic systems. I hope that states will successfully overcome this global problem, when the core of human essence, dignity, will be maximally protected, where a world society will be established based on a new universal morality and not according to the principle of the hegemony, but according to equal participation of all. Thank you very much.